afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this afternoon's webinar, Global Retail Innovations, where we're going to take you on a retail study tour without leaving Australia, looking at some of the most innovative retailers from around the world. Now, if you have any questions, you can put them in the Q&A, and we will be recording the session. So if you do need to drop out early, then you can pick it up later on the recording. And welcome, Brian. How are you doing?
Great to be here, Anastasia. Thank you. And hi, everybody. We really love this session, and it's great to bring it to you via webinar as well. This morning, we presented this live. Great feedback, and we really hope you enjoy some of the case studies we're going to share.
Fantastic. So just a little bit about the study. So the study we do in partnership with Ebeltoft Group, which is a global network of retail consultants. And each year, each consultancy from around the world nominates retailers that are the most innovative in their country. And then the finalists are judged by an international judging panel, and it brings together the best of the best in innovative retail from all of the countries around the world.
Absolutely. The Ebeltoft Group, we're members of the Ebeltoft Group. It's doing exactly what Anastasia says. And we work with our partners around the world to help bring Australian retail to the world. And that can be in the form of physical distribution. It can be in the form of online distribution, or both. And we certainly bring, as we're doing today, best practice examples from around the world. So thanks for the opportunity to share.
So a little bit into when you're looking at global innovations, what can it actually do for you as a business? So beyond actually it being very interesting, how can it actually help you change your strategy? So I think some of the areas that we look at here, understanding what are the big ideas that are moving retail forwards, how is that then localized? Aspects of omnichannel retailing, what technologies might be out there. Thinking about business models in a new way as well. So how can we think about things differently, blending that offline and online, and really understanding what does the role of the consumer play?
Absolutely. It's very easy, particularly geographically and even in a globalized world, to look internally at competition, look internally at innovation. But what we do here is throw the lens open to a global environment to see, as Anastasia says, who is particularly game-changing, what are they doing uniquely, and what is innovative and what is tactical improvement. And one of the pieces we talked about this morning was this idea of a game changer that hasn't been done before is innovation. Now, we'll see some examples where it will look very familiar to us, but the question that seeds in the innovation is the game changer. And so as Anastasia takes you through these case studies, always asking a question, how did this start? What was the why or how question that the leaders of that business asked in order to begin the innovative journey?
And I think one of the big things that we talk to is this study in particularly, we take the best Australian retail innovators from the yearly Australian Retail Innovators Awards, and we actually then submit them all to the global panel. So it really is a platform for Australian retailers. And I was telling a story earlier that, we'd heard in previous years, one of our global finalists actually found out through a South American friend of theirs that they've been retail innovators before they actually found out through Australia. So the word travels around the world about these retailers that are on this platform. So it's a great way to take Australian retail and put it on the pedestal.
Absolutely.
So the study that we've done has been categorized into three areas. So innovation for hyper efficiency, innovation for enhanced experience, and innovation for a better world. So whilst these retailers might innovate in several areas, they've been categorized into one area that really is seen to be key and core to them.
And before we move into the case studies, Anastasia, and I'll leave this in your capable hands, it is this whole thinking around what is the business opportunity or business problem that these retailers are seeking to address? What's the influence of competitive intensity? What is the internal culture for innovation? And how is innovation propagated and matured within these businesses. And really thinking about culture of innovation and really addressing that simple question: what is the game changer that we're looking for that makes this innovative? So thanks, Anastasia, for the opportunity to share the introduction with you. And thanks, everyone, for joining us.
Fantastic. So let's jump straight into it. We're going to take you through some examples that we have seen of some of the best. And at the end, I will give you a link to download the full report. So there is some retailers that we haven't included today. So you'll be able to dig into the full report and get some more information about the cases that you're finding really interesting. So category one, hyper efficiency. So our first example comes from America. This is a Taco Bell drive-through. Now, this was a really interesting example as it picks up on the changes in consumer behavior. So the question being, how do we make it quicker? How do we make it easier for consumers to engage? So the increase of the Uber Eats and the driver delivery models. So if you've pre-ordered in advance, whether you're an app user or an Uber Eats driver, you can actually go to different lanes within the drive-through experience. So you can go straight to the pickup lanes. There's then automated elevators as such that actually bring the food down from being prepared upstairs, and they come down in elevators. So you scan your QR code as you enter, and your food then miraculously comes down in the elevator and is there. So for pickup drivers, it's making it quicker. For those customers that want to order on the app, it's that extreme efficiency model. And then there's still the ability for the regular customers that want to go through a classic drive-through, as there is still a classic drive-through lane. So it's really kind of thinking about, well, how has behaviors changed? And how do we change our model to really remove all the friction from that new changes? The second one is a homegrown example from Australia. So this is aqua gardening. And this was a really interesting example of not only making it efficient for their customers, but creating an outstanding customer service. So they've trained their customer service teams in a different way. They're looking to be not just classic customer sales, but how do they educate? How do they become the go-to experts for gardening? How can they give tailored consultations to their customers? They're then also looking at, well, it's a gardening journey. So it's not so much a purchase, time of purchase and post-purchase. It's actually a different gardening journey. You know, what plants do you have in your garden? What type of garden do you have? Even looking right into whereabouts are you? Are you a knowledgeable expert or less so? So what this allows customers to do is actually then go through and be educated and really engage with the brand depending on where they are with their gardening journey. Then also enables the customer service team to have those conversations with customers. So really keeping them engaged, but making it easy for them to get the answers that they are looking for. The next one we're going to is back to America. This is the Discount Tire Pit Pass. This is actually being based off Formula One racing. So that concept of you drive into the pit lane and get your tires changed. So in the same way in store, as a driver, you drive your car into the pit lane, you park up, you stay in the car. All of the tires, the servicing can happen while you're sat in the car. And you can actually monitor it through an app to actually see where in the process you are, how quick it's going to be, how long it's going to take. So really trying to make that what is classically a chore into a really quick and frictionless experience for the driver. This is Lefties from Spain. So this is a really interesting one that combines customer engagement with improved technology to make it simple. So there's very much arcade games in store, gamification, customers being able to pay staffless checkout. So basically, staffless fitting rooms, they can just return the garments that they've worn to boxes within the fitting rooms. So from a customer perspective, using digital engagement to really remove the friction, but also to make it more fun. So as I said, gamification in store that customers can play, that can engage, they can go on the website, they can pay without having to without having to talk to the team members. But then from the business side, it actually improves efficiency. So using RFID to really assist with the purchases, the payments, and also taking stock from fitting rooms and putting it back on the shelves. So it's improving the operation side of the business, but whilst also creating a really engaging customer experience. Now, this was an interesting one from Lowe's. We're going back to America again. digital twin for store efficiency. So this was less on the customer side, more on the staff side. And it was basically a virtual augmented reality overlay for the stores so that team members can actually visualize what the shelves should look like through augmented reality. So they know how to stack the shelves, they know how to replenish the stock. They can look almost using that X-ray vision with these specs to see what they've got stored on the high shelves in boxes. And so they know where all the product is within the store to really help them keep the store looking as fresh as possible and simplify the replenishment and the stocking of the products. This was a subscription model from Canada, so Porsche Drive. And what this allows users to do is it basically allows them to hire a car, and included is all of your servicing, your tax, everything that you need is in a simple singular payment. And then on top of that, you can then decide to pick and mix your cars as you need. If you're going on holiday next month, you can actually pick up a 4x4, change your car over for as and when you need it. So it's very flexible, but also very simple. So single payment, app-based, delivered to your house, to really remove the barriers from engaging with the car. We see this quite a lot customers are wanting it to be simple, quick, and easy. And so this move to subscriptions, we've seen it a lot through toilet roll subscriptions, through food subscriptions, but this is really taking it to this next level of how do we actually then bring this into the automotive. Italy. This was a nice example of repurposing old newspaper stands to create a local community. So it was a partnership with the local communities. It was more than just selling products. Repurposing them so they've got a range of classic products that you would need, but also bringing in community features. So engaging with neighborhood services or childcare, dog walking, whatever it may be, whilst also being able to pick up information about the local area and a core range of products that you would need in your everyday life. So it's again taking a newsstand that has existed, and instead of demolishing them, they're actually repurposing them to become a real hub of the community. Now, this one I will not try and pronounce. This is also from Italy, but this is one of the big supermarkets in Italy. And what was interesting in this concept, it was how they actually made it omni-channel. So they are very much working in the e-commerce space and using social media not only for their customers to purchase, but to really engage with the brand. It's a supermarket retailer. However, customers can engage with the local and independent wholesalers that provide the food. They can ask them questions, they can talk to them directly. So it's really blurring that line between digital and physical. So the question, being the classic supermarkets are in the physical space, how do we create this digital journey for that younger consumer segment? And how do we build transparency into where these foods and products have come from by allowing our customers to ask those questions? So we now move into category 2, which is innovation for enhanced experience. So this is really looking at how the customer experience is changing and evolving, and really what is out there. So we're starting back in Italy with La Bottega Barilla. This one was fantastic as it's almost like an art gallery. There's art installations. It's very much a brand piece. So Barilla's the classic pasta. We've all seen it. It's been on the supermarket shelves, FMCG product, and it's actually taking that product direct to the consumer, creating a physical space where the customers actually can engage with the brand. So it's very much a brand piece. They can go and take part in cooking classes. They can learn more about where the pastas come from, touch screens to engage and learn about the history, the recipes, the journey. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's really creating a brand engagement for a brand that classically is in supermarkets, but it's bringing it into more of a physical retail space. Our second Australian entry, Litmus Labs, really looking at how we can merge the digital and the physical. So they're bringing up and coming e-commerce brands and using this endless aisle approach. So as a customer, you can browse the different brands, brands that you wouldn't usually see with a presence. You can then click through the QR codes to look more at that endless aisle, order what you want through your phone, read more about that brand. And it's almost like an introduction space to get the customers to really engage with these online brands. So really having that link to the physical for brands that are classically in that online space. So La Mas Mona in Spain. So this was actually taking the concept of sharing items to the next level, termed the Airbnb of fashion. So we're all quite familiar with rent a dress or rent a suit for the, you know, you might be getting it for the classic, for a prom, for a special event. But what this does is take it to the next level with in that you can rent all levels of products in all different sizes, very much in a convenient approach. So you can have it delivered Wednesday, Thursday, quick return. But what was quite interesting is then also took it a step further and allowed customers to put their own clothes on there. So in the same way in Airbnb, you can lease out your spare room. On this platform, you can actually lease out that designer handbag or lease out that suit that you only wear every few years to actually gain money and income from the products. So really creating an interesting engagement for customers, moving through all the channels from social commerce to online to then even in the physical space, to create a very different environment and also playing on that sustainability, circularity aspect. The Vasa flagship in London. So again, similar to the Barilla example, this is really creating a brand centerpiece. So you can go there and get takeaway coffee. You can go and do a coffee tasting flight. You can really learn about the different coffee beans and the process involved. And really then connect to the brand through the digital spaces. So in the center of London, it's creating a brand focal point. It's almost a thing on the to-do list to visit this flagship store, and it then gets you to engage with the brand, pulls you into the digital channels, as well as having that experience. So if you followed some of the trends that we've got, have a look at our consumer and retailer trends white papers. One of the things we do talk a lot about is this retailers entertainment. Consumers are now looking, how can retail entertain me? If I'm leaving the house, give me a great reason to leave the house, make it entertaining. So we're seeing a lot more repurposing of the retail space to become entertainment. And Mango from Spain was actually a very interesting one from a different perspective, as the question being, how do we engage that younger audience? How do we actually make those pesky Gen Zs and millennials more loyal? And this is an actual revisitation of the loyalty program. So instead of collecting points, you collect likes. And there are multiple ways for you to collect likes, not just purely through purchases. If you open the app while you're in store, you can collect likes. If you check into their social media platforms while you're in store, you can collect likes. And there's a whole multitude of ways, prizes for scanning certain objects in store, prizes for engagement. And so again, you're collecting these likes and you're having this spontaneous engagement in the physical store. And then what it is doing is it's linking the physical and the digital with consumers, taking them into all the Mangoes online, making them log into the app, getting them to check in on social media while they're in the physical store. And then what again was interesting from a loyalty perspective, instead of collecting likes to get a return, spend money in store, there was different ways that you could then redeem the likes, whether it was through donations to charity, whether it was through special events, or the classic getting gifts and getting items for the likes. So it was an interesting way to rethink loyalty and rethink how we engage with that different demographic. And speaking of the Gen Z demographic, this was McDonald's in Brazil, purposefully built around the concept of brand engagement, looking at how can we get people to engage with us differently. This was created purely for Instagram, very much a flagship for people to come in and take pictures. That's what they want you to do. There's a staircase inside that's purely there for Instagram, social images. The upstairs has got the ability for you to work there. It's got a co-working space. So again, thinking about the brand in a different way, thinking about brand presence. And there's also the world's only McDonald's retail store. So you can actually go in and buy McDonald's products. So again, really changes the way people look at the brand, and changes the way that they engage and have that brand presence. They're looking to get the brand to a larger audience. Media Markets. This is a tech village in Germany. So this is over 5 floors, and it's taking tech products to allow people to look, feel, touch, browse, engage, and very much again creating entertainment in the in-store environment. Now, it's been laid out as if you are going to a convention or a tech fair. So it's got a very different feel to it. You're walking around, looking, trying the products, the newest innovation. Immersing yourself in the technology with the feel that you're not just in a retail environment, you're very much in the forefront of a technology convention. So it's again really interesting customer engagement because they're there as an activity, as an entertainment, rather than purely transactional. Oxford Properties from Canada. This one's quite funny because they're taking unused retail space in supermarkets and turning it into pop-up photo opportunities. So think of Barbie. They had a Barbie house. They've had the Friends cafes, which we've all heard about, the Friends cafe pop-ups. This one we can see here, Outer Space. And basically, it's a way to bring people into the shopping centres because they want to engage with these fictional environments. They want to have their pictures taken, again, Instagrammable moments, but it gets the foot traffic into the shopping centres, and it also uses up the space that's unleased at present. So really creating an engagement and creating a drive. And again, in particular, with this younger segment, they're looking for entertainment, they're looking for activities. This is giving them a reason to leave the house. Staples. So Staples, obviously a classic office retailer. Now this one was very much a pivot due to the changing the way people work. So this move to work from home and this move for how people use the office space and use the office products. So what Staples has actually done in the US is taken their large footprint and large big box stores and changed the purpose of the stores. So they've turned it into co-working spaces. They've put the cafe inside, co-working spaces. You can hire office space, you can hire meeting rooms. You can have your meetings, your digital meetings online, in store, and again, changing the way they use that big box retail. So thinking about what are they strong at, it's how to run an office, but then let's expand that into actually enabling people to work from the store environment. And the last one in this category is Omo Laundries. This was an interesting one about thinking about a brand and thinking about how else can we use this brand? What else can we do? Where can the brand play? What can the brand do differently? And it was taking that large trust in the Omo detergents and then building laundrettes. So there's now a large chain of laundrettes throughout Brazil using the Omo brand. So people have the trust in this product. It's an FMCG brand, and it is taking it almost directly to the customer with this range of laundrettes. So really, again, thinking, how can we use our brand differently? How can we engage with the customer differently? And where do we have an invitation to play? So then moving into our final category, innovation for a better world. So the first one here is King Jouet in France. Now, we see it quite often, it's quite a trend in retail now with retailers taking back used products. You can return the used products to the store and they may resell them or they may donate them or repurpose them in some way. What King Jouet is doing is actually kind of taking away the stigma of secondhand products. And instead of having an area in the store that's the second-hand store, what they're doing is they're laying the products out with the used product next to the new product. So as you're browsing the shelves, you can see the used product and the new product side by side and then determine actually which one do I need to purchase, which one do I want. So again, it's changing the way people think of second-hand products, removing that stigma, and again, breathing a lease of life into these second products. But realistically for King Jouet, then still making the margins on using these secondhand products. Remo 1000 from the Netherlands. This one was very different, as it was more about community engagement. So really looking at how they could engage with their local community. And this came out of COVID and has actually been a strong um, purpose for the brand ever since. And it's basically connecting people that are going to the supermarket to do their shopping with people that can't or don't want to go to the supermarket. In other words, instead of using delivery drivers to deliver their shopping, if you're going to Rema on Saturday and there's someone 2 streets down that also wants to do their shopping, you'll be connected and you can go and do the shopping on behalf of the other person. You can potentially earn some money or support your local community, and then you deliver their shopping to them. So again, a different take on the delivery model, but more about creating community. And in particular, this challenge if we have an aging community, we see the aging community. How do we connect with them? How do we keep them engaged? In particularly if they're not looking to play on the digital channels. So really creating this environment. The Pros Closet from the USA. This was a new way of thinking about circularity. And they buy back bikes that they've sold to you the first time around with a continuous buy-sell cycle. So effectively, what that means is they'll sell you a bike and then give you the option to sell it back when you no longer want it, need it, use it. But because they are the experts, they make it easy, make it simple for you to resell your bikes, and then also have the trust for when they sell it on to a new customer, because they are the bike experts. So they very much focus on they are the knowledge in this sector. They know if a bike is great, they know if a bike is working. So creating circularity, but actually having the trust behind the ability to do that. So in particular for bikes that are high dollar value purchases, it's actually building trust for the customers. How can they build trust in a further way? And finally, the last one on the list is back to Australia. So this is Vicinity in Chatswood Chase. It's looking at the Edit collection. So this was using some space in the Chatswood Chase Centre as an incubation space for classic brands that have been online, but brands that have got sustainable and ethical purposes. So giving those brands a platform that they wouldn't usually be able to do or afford, and really linking the brand to the customer. So allowing customers to engage with the brand, allowing the brands to get feedback from the customers that they wouldn't normally, and really creating a platform for these sustainable and ethical brands to really reach customers. It was all technology embedded, so digital scanning technology and enabling customers to engage in store in an endless aisle approach as well. So again, fueled by technology, but with a real core of having these sustainable brands put first and foremost within the big shopping centres. And that takes us to the end of our world tour on global retail innovations. And as we said, we've only just hit the top of the iceberg. There is many, many more retail innovations from this year's white paper in that you can download. And any of the ones we spoke about today, there's a lot more details and information if there's one that really has piqued your interest. And contact our team, talk to us. Innovation in retail is great, but what is the ultimate goal at the end of the day? It's really taking these insights to understand, well, what can you do differently? How can you build your strategy based on these insights? What can we learn from our global retail peers? How do we couple that with our consumer research to really build robust strategies? In particular, as we see so much at the moment, consumer confidence is changing, retail is changing. So taking all of this information to really get one step ahead. So there's a QR code attached. You can download the white paper and really have a look at some more innovative retail. Thank you for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you at one of our future events or white papers, or reach out to us to talk more about how we can help you build your efficiency within your brand, understand your consumers further, and grow your retail business. Thanks.